Yes, adding isometrics to your routine can quickly improve your sports performance with large strength gains and minimal muscle growth. So let's start on how you'll be different by adding isometrics to your programs. And it's first by understanding that every muscular movement has 3 parts that must be trained. The first is a concentric muscle contraction. This is what most people in the gym will always do. This contraction is where the muscle is shortening to produce an acceleration of the weights. Only a few venture into the second type of contraction called an eccentric muscle contraction, and this is when the muscle is lengthening with force applied. Or to put it simply, you're resisting the weights against gravity and working on deceleration. But very few move into the third type of muscle contraction called the isometric muscle contraction. And when isometrics are left out of the equation, you're missing out on a huge performance gain and workout efficiency like you've never seen before. So why do isometrics give you an advantage? Well, 1, nobody is doing it, so there's a quick leg up on the competition already. And 2, your body's adaptations when performing isometrics are incredible. You can increase your range of motion, flexibility, you can build incredible strength without getting bulky, you can break through plateaus, and much more, which I'm going to cover throughout this video. So make sure you stay locked in. And number 3, adding them into a workout is easy and can be done no matter what routine you're on.
Mark, if they're so good, why are they left out of so many training programs?
What a great question. Well, I'll be honest here. They can look kind of silly to the untrained eye. I mean, really think about it. Let's look at a guy trying to move a weight or resisting a weight from moving, giving everything he's got, and it's not going anywhere. It looks like they're overstepping their abilities and should be dropping the weight or doing something that they can actually handle. Well, at least that's what a lot of other people will be saying. And when that negative stigma seems to travel around, a lot of people will shy away from it even though they know it can help them. But to make things even worse, because there is this negative perspective on isometrics, a lot of trainers and performance centers also shy away from it. But why would they do that, right? Well, for 2 reasons that I can think of. 1, if people think this place is doing weird things, they won't go into that training facility or go to that trainer. And that trainer is going to lose out on quality clients. Nobody wants to go out of business. 2, isometrics are hard, and the average person wants the least amount of work to get the most amount of benefits. But that's why you're here. You know that hard work develops mental toughness, sports performance, and ultimate success. So let's focus, get our hands dirty, and find out why isometrics are really so powerful. Digging deep into isometrics, and you will find that you're either fighting gravity or trying to move an immovable object. Well, one of the best examples I can think of is the deadlift. If you lift the deadlift off the ground and hold it in the upright position, you're resisting gravity down. If you load the weight so heavily that you can't even lift it off the ground no matter how many ounces of strength you put into it, you are trying to lift the immovable object. When determining how long to do in isometrics, I want you to think about a plank. A plank is an isometric. When we think about a plank, we usually do them for at least 30 seconds, a minute, sometimes 2 minutes. Then you do multiple sets throughout your workout. When you do an isometric, you need to think about, is 5-second isometric really worth it at all? Would I do a 5-second plank? Of course not. Of course you wouldn't do that. So you need to think about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute. I don't know if you're going to be able to handle 2 minutes. That would be incredible. But if you can, please let me know in the comments below how much you did. And if it was 2 minutes, that's incredible. Great job. But keep in mind that the length always related back to a plank. Would I do a plank for this long? Yes, no. How many sets would I do? Yes, no. That's something that you need to keep in mind in order to improve with isometrics. The general premise here is to develop an extreme amount of tension without moving any weight. And that tension created during the isometric is greater than you will experience during any type of normal weightlifting where you're doing concentric and eccentric motions, which is a good thing, but the adaptations your body will experience are even better. 1, you will increase your effective range of motion, which is the range of motion that you can actually develop force in, not your static range of motion. This is vitally important for sports performance where we routinely find ourselves and our body in different positions all the time, and it's really hard to replicate those in the gym. The reason your range of motion increases, even though the weights aren't moving, is because the muscles are never going to contract, but they're still under tension. So they'll begin to lengthen, but they're able to maintain that force in that lengthened position. 2, the high amount of tension created gives your tendons or your muscle to muscle connections or your ligament and your ligaments, your bone to muscle connection, time to experience a large and sustained increase necessary to develop strength. If you think about it like a big crane, if the crane is lifting a heavy object, the cable is under tension, but the pulley system is also taking force away from the heavy object to move it up or down. But when the crane stops, most of the force is now on that steel cable, and that tensile strength is similar to isometrics. Your ligaments and tendons are like the cables. The steel cables have a finite amount of tensile strength they can handle before they snap, as your ligaments and tendons are, but your ligaments and tendons can adapt to get stronger to handle more strength, and a steel cable cannot. Number 3, you will increase your bone density. Bone density will increase because the higher amount of stress and force applied during these isometrics. We can relate this to astronauts in space. Zero gravity creates an average of 1 to 2% loss in bone density per month because of the lack of force needed to move around. So to help solve this equation, astronauts do weight-bearing activities like strapping themselves down to a harness and running on a treadmill. But here on Earth, we can use that knowledge and work it in reverse. If we increase the load-bearing activities by doing heavy isometrics, we can increase the bone density and then increase the body's strength capabilities. Right? Bigger bones equal better and stronger muscles. 4, you can develop neuromuscular proficiency. Neuromuscular proficiency is how well your neuromuscular system recognizes when, how much, and where to produce the force to get a desired outcome. So by training isometrics, our body will begin to adapt to produce an immense amount of force in the correct neuromuscular sequence at the right time. The consequence is a more efficient nervous system that can activate muscles for large strength gains. 5, I never knew there was so much. You can break through plateaus by being smart and thinking about your sticking points. And for those of you that may not know, a sticking point is the point of exercise where you usually fail, or the position of the lift where the weight feels its hardest. But when you're conscious and aware of your sticking points, you can pinpoint the exact location of difficulty. You can perform isometrics in those exact sticking points to boost your muscular output and overcome the sticking point. This is when you'll notice that plateaus begin to fade away from your workouts because you have conscious control of and understanding of your sticking points. Number 6, you won't be getting extremely sore. After your initial adaptation to isometrics, which is usually about 2 weeks, you won't be getting sore. Soreness comes from breaking down the muscle fibers, which I won't get into too much here, but the muscle breakdown causes them to rebuild a little bit stronger and bigger, or bigger and stronger. But since isometrics are static and not dynamic, you won't be breaking down as much muscle as rapidly as you would through normal lifting routines, which means that you won't be getting as sore, but you'll be getting much stronger and not bulky. I know now that you'll be feeling a little bit overwhelmed from all this information, but adding isometrics to a workout routine can really just start right now and today. You can add them to your warm-up to prime your muscles to get ready to develop force. You can add them into the middle of your workout or between sets is a good place to start to increase workout efficiency. You can also superset them like performing a bench press and then doing an isometric shoulder press in between the workouts. And you can use them as a part of your cool down and stretching routine to increase range of motion, flexibility, and more blood flow for recovery. Just remember that the creativity and uniqueness in every workout that you do is what's giving you sustained long-term goals. So please never get stuck in the same routine, and always keep in mind that isometrics are a necessary addition to a routine and never should replace a concentric or an eccentric movement. They all work together to improve performance and efficiency. So tell me what your goals are in the comments below so I can make future videos so I can also address them. Don't forget to subscribe and stick around to learn more.